Hi guys, and welcome to Tom and Harry SMMA. Today is a slightly different video for everyone. We're actually going to talk to a student of ours from our academy, from the Digital Culture Academy. We have a student called Jack Lewin. He will introduce himself in just a second, but I thought for those listening on Spotify or watching us on YouTube, it's interesting understanding like when you need a mentor in SMMA, like at what stage do you need one? What is a good mentor and what qualities are you looking for in someone who you can actually take advice from? Because we all know it's not the world as you think it is sometimes. So I thought it'd be interesting for someone like Jack, who has invested in our course and gets direct mentorship from me and Harry, to talk about his journey up until where he's at now. So those listening, it's a journey story. It should be pretty interesting for most. So Jack, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the subscribers who are watching us. Just talk us through where you're at now, what your journey was, like what have you done previously, why SMMA, just go into it.
Cool. Yeah. So I'm currently still in the military. I still serve full time as a career in the forces. But for the last sort of 5-6 years, I've been looking towards leaving and doing something different. So I've done not an incredibly long service, but just over 9 years. So I'm sort of looking towards getting out now.
Yeah.
I didn't want to. I wanted to. I believe the future is going to be heavily digital, and I'm lacking in digital skills. So for me, it was a case of like sort of picking up some skills basically and honing some skills. And I looked into a lot of things. I looked into sort of drop shipping and not knocking it. Sure, I know a lot of people are probably are doing really well, undoubtedly, but I don't know. There was nothing that wasn't fitting quite right. I actually took up photography as well and delved into that. Found I really enjoyed it until I was spending more time editing pictures and getting stressed out doing that than I was actually out in the field taking photos. So yeah, stumbling across Harry and Tom's Digital Culture Academy course was actually kind of by pot luck. I think I was on YouTube.
How did you just discover us?
Yeah, it was YouTube initially was the SMMA and like the business to business service providing type thing, and I didn't really grasp what it was, but that's the first I heard of it. But the first time I heard you guys was actually on Apple Podcast, the podcast app for Apple.
Yeah.
And I just started listening to your podcast actually whilst I was driving. I think I was driving home for the weekend, and I watched the first episode, the first podcast, and then just started to. I think I just gelled with both of your mentalities and your humor. I think it became quite clear that you were real people, very down to earth, similar sort of personality to myself to a certain extent, and there was some. There was some classic British humor in there as well, which I liked, that wasn't left out. I thought, okay, there's two British guys. I can relate to this. It's not, that made me as, no, I'm not saying that it doesn't matter where you're from, but for me personally, being a British guy, that made me feel a little bit safe and cozy.
What do you, without like name dropping other people, because I don't want to, we never want our channel to like be hating on other people, but do you find, because Tom and I found this, that majority of the people that produce like similar content to us, sell courses or whatever on YouTube, they have this kind of robotic front to them? Do you feel like that? Like we always talk about it, like they're very, I don't know, they don't come across as real people. They come across as, I've got this business that never has any problems with, I don't know, they come across very strange in my opinion. I just wondered whether other people see it as well.
Yeah, what's your view on that, Jack?
Definitely. I think there's the big players, Iman Gadzi, and again, it's not to knock, because I still subscribe to his channel and I watch some of his bits and bobs. I think it's important, just like you guys always advise as well, to seek and collect guidance and knowledge from everywhere. Little bits and add it all up. And I think it's good to broaden that. horizon there with knowledge. But the big difference for me between you guys and a lot of the other guys on YouTube in particular, there's a lot of information left out, a lot of important information left out, and there is some extortionate prices for training packages and things, and not enough information about what you're actually going to be learning and what you're actually going to be getting out of it. It's all more fronted on join my community and you will learn a lot, but not necessarily what exactly you will learn. And there's never any. It's all too positive. And I think for me personally, having been bitten by MLMs and pyramid schemes in the past, as we all have when initially looking for some sort of digital venture, I needed a little bit more realism and a bit more truth. And I know that regardless of what path you end up choosing, there's going to be some negatives. And you guys quite clearly are happy to talk about those and make it very clear that the get rich scheme, get rich quick overnight thing is a lottery win. Apart from that, there's not much. There's not much out there that's going to achieve that for you. There's still hard work. There's still going to be failures. There's still a lot to learn. But
so
yeah,
Jack,
I
like
think.
Jack, when you were when you were getting into looking into SMMA and courses and things like that, at what situation were you in to buy a course? Did you have the money, for example? Did you have to save? What were you feeling when you were going to buy the course? Were you thinking, fucking hell, I hope this is good, or I really hope this isn't a mistake, or like, what were your thoughts going through? Because our course is very, very reasonable, and this video is not to promote our course. We don't care if you buy it or not, really, quite frankly. If you want to learn the right way, then Jack will probably recommend us, but there's a lot of other things out there you can investigate, so that's absolutely fine, and we're okay with that. But I think what was going through your thoughts? Like, did you have the money? I know you teamed up with your brother, so did you and your brother put money in together and go, right, let's get this course? What was the process?
It was actually at the end of a month for me, and it had been a, let's say, socially heavy month. So I actually did not have the money at all in the slightest. But for me, it was a case of I'd already looked at your course and had a look at the ClickFunnels, the landing page, sorry, for the academy, and then I'd already had a little think. Which I advise everyone to do, go away and have a look elsewhere if you need to, if you want to.
Definitely.
And that's exactly what I did. But I knew, based off of the information you were putting out and your podcasts as well, which were probably the deciding factor for me, hearing your voices, hearing your discussions. I came straight back to your course, and then obviously the price that it was at as well, and what you were clearly stating it was and what you were clearly stating it wasn't, and highlighting all the things that I'm going to learn from it. It has been very much as it says on the tin, that there's not been any fleecing at all. It's been very, very, very clear going throughout for me. So no, I didn't have the money. I actually borrowed it. I borrowed it from a friend. I knew when I was getting paid. I'm lucky enough to have that date of when I get paid. So I asked a friend. I said, look, I'm going to pay you back exactly at this time on this day, but I need this money for this particular course. And I want to, because I want to do it time frame wise, I want to get it now so that I can finish it by a certain time. So yeah, I think
fair play to you.
Yeah. Well, the way I kind of want to treat this kind of interview, we'll call it, is so we can track your progress and publicly kind of say, right, let's get on another call in 3 months' time and put it on YouTube and be like, right, Jack was an action taker. This is where he is in 3 months' time. So to kind of tee that up and to kind of follow on from what you just said there, you wanted to finish the course by a certain date. What position are you at now? What have you finished the course? What are you implementing now? I know you booked your first few meetings on your first day, but just go into that if you can, of just like where are you now and what have you got in place and what are you implementing?
Yeah, so I had the course at the end of November. My target was to finish it. It takes anyone as long as it takes, but for me, I wanted to properly focus and get it done by the end of December, which I achieved, to then start getting I got all my pages and things set up alongside, but to then actually start my outreach and implementing everything I'd learned before New Year, just before New Year's.
Yeah.
I launched then a business at New Year's, and then immediately started cold calling. I think it was the 3rd of January. And then, first cold call I've ever done in my entire life.
Love this.
It was, so I kind of wasn't expecting it, to be fair. I was kind of quite casually, as I am now. I was like, hello. It just, I got on with the guy, kept it very casual, not salesy, because I don't come from a salesy background, which I think is a little bit of a perk in some ways.
100%.
Not in others, but in some ways it's a bit of a perk because I wasn't salesy, and just got on well. I think I made him feel relatively comfortable on their phone, and his sort of the end result was sort of, why not? There's no harm in finding out more. That'd be great, Jack. And I was like, sweet, cool. There's no obligations and stuff, kind of as you guys say with your course. Which there truly isn't. I'm not going to lose sleep if he doesn't sign, but I hope he does, because I'd
in fact, Jack, the more not saying less bothered you are, I'm like the less pressure you put on yourself, that translates itself down the phone. So when if you come from a take it or leave it approach, but in really respectful ways, like you're not hinging your entire livelihood on signing this client, and you just see it as an experience and a fun task, right? You immediately relax. Like you said, you were quite casual. That's the absolute best way to do any cold calling. Got to be focused, but just chill, have a cup of coffee, in between calls, even listen to music if it helps you, like do your prep and all that stuff. When you come from a take it or leave it, or what we call really a place of abundance, when you got to act like you kind of don't need this client, but you really want to help them, you will get the people feel that on the phone when you did it. And they go, yeah, why not? Like, I feel like you're a good guy. I'm happy to talk about it. And like when you get him on a call, and we're right to say it's a landscaper, isn't it, Jack? We can say that. Landscaper, great time of the year because people are now starting to get their shit together, ready to have a beautiful garden and outside space for the summer, because we're no doubt going to be in for a good one again. So like, it's good timing. And I think that your first appointment, just absolutely highlights, with no previous. I want people to listen to this on Spotify or Apple, like listen to what we're saying, is that Jack comes from a military background, right, which is very hands-on. You have no sales experience. You can clearly talk, which is great, and I think being able to communicate well is a key part of this. Okay, if you're grunting and you're mumbling and you're not clear in your pronunciation and you do have to have an element of being articulate. That's a disclaimer for these people watching this and want to get into SMA. You do have to be able to hold a conversation to a reasonable level, which we can't teach you. Okay, you should have been taught that when you were 12. So if you can do these things, like Jack can demonstrate all this, no sales experience, and get on the phone, one call, one appointment. Now, there's no saying that he's going to win this client, but he's about 80% there. Got to say, if the guy had no money and was not interested, he wouldn't entertain the time, whether there's no obligation or not. You don't do anything unless you are remotely interested in it.
Yeah. And a majority of people that even get to that point are going to continue to fail because they'll get on the meeting, not know how to conduct a proper meeting, and that's going to be the complete opposite of what you're going to do, Jack.
Can you imagine, Jack, when you do 100 cold calls in a week? I'd be worried that you'd be like, yeah. But if you do 100 cold, or even do 500 cold calls in a month, that's 100 a week, but just over 100, 125 a week. That's it's super doable. It's really, I could do 100 calls today in one day easily. And I've done it, and even in the academy, we show you, like, I think when we were recording the academy, we did about 10 cold calls, Harry, didn't we?
Yeah. But we did more, but we tried to show a range of them, and we're going to try to
really spread it out. Yeah, we are going to have more. But even then, we signed a client from that process, Harry, didn't we? And it just goes to show, like, I think that was in the first 6 calls I made. And this guy, Chris, was just like, yeah, like I've just signed another agency. What you offering me? And we put together this fucking kick-ass proposal. And he was like, holy shit, I've just signed with this drossy ass agency in Worcester. Why am I doing that? And we got his business. Easy as that.
Mm.
But I think I love the fact one call. And this is also not a freak show, a freak thing that's happened, because we've had another guy in our academy who said he made 3 calls and actually signed a client.
Yeah, I saw it. The other guys chatting about it happening the first time, and I was thinking that's not gonna work like that for me. But it really does. One thing that you've just said about like the disclaimer of sort of confidence on the phone, it's insane how true that is, because literally everyone can learn the value that you guys have put in this course.
Yes.
But some people will let the fear of the idea even of cold calling get in the way of that.
Yeah.
And like anything, if you don't slowly start to expose yourself to these fears, you will never take those steps. It's just a limiting factor at the end of the day. But it's learning to sort of enjoy the nervous sensation, and embrace it a little bit. Like, you get a little bit of adrenaline rush out of it. But I understand for some people it's a terrifying thing. But when you've done the first one, it's yes, it's easy for me to say because I'm slightly more confident to speak, but I still get the butterfly sensation, so to speak. So I understand that people find it quite nerve-wracking. But once you've done a few things, once you've exposed yourself to these fears, like anything else in life, they start to become a lot easier to do, to the point where you're not even thinking about the nerves. I guess like you guys now can just pick up the phone and it's almost second nature. So yeah,
you get to the point, Jack, where you pick up the phone and you're in complete control. Like I pick up the phone and I'm in control of this call, not them. They can put the phone down on me, but I lead it and conduct it like it's music to me.
Yeah.
And I think you, which Harry's witnessed time and time again, and not even just that, when we've got clients and they're being tricky, like me and Harry bounce off each other in different ways. But the minute you can control a phone call, because you haven't got any body language, and 70% of communication is body language. And when you're on the phone, you remove 70% of that communication. So you have to be clear and concise, which are the only 2 things left, and tone as well. So when you master that, when you're on the phone, it's super powerful.
Yeah, and that's the mistake a lot of people make when they're on the phone and they cold call someone. They wait until they prompt a specific response, don't they? They'll call a dentist and they'll be waiting for him to kind of lead the conversation down a certain path, where actually it's, well, you've experienced it, Jack, when you take control of it and you push them in a direction and tell them what you want from them in a polite way, you get what you want. And that's a mistake that a lot of people have. They just don't have that authority on the call. And I think that side of things can be learned. It just takes practice, like you say.
When you were checking out the course, just going back to the course of ours, when you were checking out the landing page, the information, a landing page, if you don't know what that is, it's a page which we've set out to give you all the information you could possibly need to understand what our course is about, or etc. When you were going through it, what were the key standout things? Because we got a few trailers on there too, which I don't know whether you watched or gave you a good understanding of who we are.
Yeah, so again, as you guys keep things honest, I will as well. I didn't even watch those videos. I was a converted lead at the end of listening to all your podcasts. So wow. I think it just goes to show it doesn't really necessarily matter which form of advertisement is the one that is enough
Everyone
for someone
differently.
We all take things in differently. I definitely obviously went onto the landing page. I think for me, I just read the clear bulleted points and was like, that just solidified that you were the right guys that I've just been listening to for the last week on the podcast, and that this is what you're offering, and it relates entirely to everything you've discussed on the audio podcast. And I was just like, sweet, happy. And for the price that you're putting it at, it was like, well, yeah. It's a really good investment in my own education at the end of the day.
And then the mentorship that goes with it. So how have you found, how accessible are me and Harry to you?
Extremely, yeah, to a personal level, which is important because it creates, again, that safety sensation that it's not all a take thing here. It's a two-way respect. It's a two-way mentor and discussion.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think that give and take thing there to me is again was another big thing, because when I saw that's clearly stated on the landing page. I do remember that there's the sort of one-on-one mentorship. Clearly people obviously need to understand that they can't, the common sense is I can't just call up Harry for 3 hours when it's, it's understanding that everyone's got busy lives and busy days, but just to know that if I'm absolutely up shit creek, as I would say, I can pick up the phone. So either of you, one of you will get back to me very quickly, if not immediately. So and I will also respect your time. And I think it's easy for people to understand that two-way respect there.
Yeah, and I think that's so important.
There's not many other. I've not seen any, in fact, any other courses or mentors, as they call themselves, that are offering that. You are usually led to a gatekeeper first, and then an admin role that will speak to you, that they've outsourced.
Yes,
and
a bit of a problem.
As everyone knows, Tom and Harry are not a fan of outsourcers.
No, we're not.
That should be the slogan of our channel.
I think built into me now that it's just like, no.
Yes, definitely not. I think that's so important, though. I actually think that side of it's way more important than the video module access that you get when you sign up for a course. It's like, once you've got that, that's just to get you to a foundation level of, right, how to handle a presentation, how to handle a cold call, how to find leads, how to do the actual service of Facebook ads. But it's to the point where, like, you're at a point where you've got a meeting next week, you're going to put the presentation together for them. It's right, Harry, can I send you over this presentation to double check? Or, right, I've just done the presentation, how do I follow them up and actually get them converted at them? It's that stuff that's so unique to every single person, because you might be like, oh, well, this happened on the meeting, he dropped this line that he said is only going to get me over the line if I combat this objection he has. It's that stuff that people just can't put in courses. People can't put in the video content they go through, where you need the access to someone. And that, for me, that was the biggest part when creating this 2.0 of the course, that we implemented to a T, because I knew that was most important. And without it, it kind of means nothing.
I think the other thing, Jack, is like, what you get from me and Harry is, I genuinely, hand on heart, want you to succeed. Like,
me too.
I want, not just you, Jack, like all our students. See, we have if you sign up for our academy, we have a Discord group too, where everyone's chatting in the Discord group, and they put in their problems and their week, and I've had this happen, and so you're getting direct access to us on the Discord. But I'm watching people write messages, and I'm like, I make it a mission of mine to get you to be successful. Like, if I can't get you, Jack, to where you want to be, then, well, we failed. I expect quite a lot from you, actually, Jack. If I'm being honest, I expect a lot. In 6 months' time, I am making you accountable for a lot of stuff. And I think that is, if someone like you is okay with that, then that's great. Some people buy our course just to get a bit of extra info, and they might do something up. Yeah, which is fine. That's totally okay. But I think the one thing that you're getting, and you understand, and this is the same for anyone listening, is that your success makes me a success. Without successful people, then our course isn't successful in itself. And that's one thing.
Again, goes back to that two-way thing, I suppose. It's
absolutely, mate.
I mean, what are your goals for the next 6 months' time? Where do you see your agency? Where do you want it to be?
Yeah, good question.
What would you be happy with?
6 months.
Yeah.
Within 6 months, I'd like 3. No, I'd like 2 within 6 months. I'd like 2 or 3 close relationships with clients, with 3 different businesses.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not so much interested in the one-off client that's just going to come and then
Go
never
after
to
a
be
few
seen
months.
again. Because
Yep.
in my eyes, I feel like that means that I've got some serious room for improvement. And so whilst I welcome that as a pickup point for myself, that to me would be a bit of a negative, because it means that they're not wanting to stay with me, and there's a reason
100%.
for that. So I'd like
Big time.
2 or 3 reoccurring clients that so this landscape gardener, for example, is local to where I live, and I've already in the initial call said I'm more than happy to come and have a coffee with you, and if you're willing and happy to let me into the business in the sense of show me the artwork you're doing, because this guy's work is awesome. I feel like that's, again, it's that relationship, just like it is between you guys and your clients, and also you guys and academy members. I genuinely want to give this guy value, because otherwise I'm just taking his money. And I think there's got to be a bit of a moral element to it. And if your morals aren't there, it's probably best to look to do something else with your life than this, because otherwise you're just robbing people.
Yep, 100%.
I've actually, just very quickly, I've actually done a little bit of marketing. I won't say what it is, but I tried a little bit of marketing in the past with something that had a much higher startup cost. People are doing great with it, but for me personally, it was to actually sell a series of products.
Mm-hmm.
And these products you have to buy for yourself first to use, and then market. I did not believe in these products. I couldn't stand them.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't going to use them. I knew in my own self I wasn't going to use them. So I couldn't physically, for myself personally. I know other people can do this. I couldn't sell this to someone else knowing I would not sell it at all. I just didn't believe in it. Other people do, and that's great. So that they can do that. But for me personally, I don't know. It just doesn't sit right. I think it's important to make sure you don't sell your soul.
100%.
Be honest and respectful. Yeah, completely.
Definitely.
I think that's a good aim to have in the next 6 months, Jack. I think you'll be amazed. It'd be interesting to see where you get to, but I think that's not an unrealistic target at all. I think if anything, you could double or triple that, based on how driven you are and how focused you are on achieving your goals. So we wish you all the best, mate. And as an academy member, you've got access to us, forever, really. Well, as long as I'm on this planet, mate, to be fair. Thank you. I think we've, unless there's any other questions. Harry.
No, I think that's a good way to end it. Tee up, like, I want to do another one in 3 months, another one in 6 months, if you're open to it, and be like, right, this is someone who's taken action. This is where he's in 3 months using our help and the expertise you have. This is what he's going to be in 6 months. Now we've set out the goal. Now we're going to let YouTube keep all 3 of us accountable to help you smash it. So
and get your brother, and maybe your brother can come on too, because I know you went into this with Finley, your brother. So it would be great to get you both back on, see where you're both at in 3 to 6, and I look forward to seeing you making more money than most on the average, I'd say. That tends to be the way it works in this industry. But
well, let's if I've gone AWOL, then I've not done too well, and you can't find me for the next podcast.
There is no pressure. But you will do what you need to do to make your life better. And I think if it doesn't work out for you, it doesn't work out, and your situation can change. But
it'll work out.
I've got a lot of faith in you. I've got a lot of faith in you.
Me too.
No, that'd be great. Finn, I'm sure Finn will be up to getting on the next podcast as well. And
it'd be great. Yeah, wicked.
Cool.
Harry, do you want to wrap it up?
Yeah. Well, thank you for watching, guys. We'll let you know when the next one comes out in 3 to 6 months' time, and catch up with Jack. And we'll go from there. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow at 9 AM.